Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In the series of pattern printings, in our previous videos, we have solved so many pattern printing problems using for loop, string concatenation, and also using string multiplication. In this video, we will be solving this particular pattern using for loop, string concatenation, and also using string multiplication. If you don't know about string concatenation and string multiplication, you can watch my first video about pattern printing where I have explained clearly about string concatenation and string multiplication. So you can actually understand the string concatenation and string multiplication while I am printing this particular pattern. So let's go ahead and see how we can actually print this particular pattern using for loop, string concatenation and string multiplication. So if you carefully observe this pattern here, we are not only having it one pattern, we are actually having two patterns here. In the above triangle we have considered as one pattern. In the below triangle we can consider it as another pattern. So by generating this above pattern and below pattern and combining this both of this pattern, we can actually generate this whole pattern that is present here. So first we will generate that this upward pattern, upward triangle pattern. So if you carefully so let's start and create this pattern. So I am taking a rows variable and I am taking the static value as 5. So later we will take these rows dynamically based on the user input. We can actually generate this kind of a pattern. So if you carefully observe this pattern above here, we not only having stars, we are also having spaces here. So without spaces, we cannot actually print this pattern. So for that reason, I will take a variable spaces and I will assign the spaces variable to rows minus 1. Why? Because in the first line, you can observe if we have five positions here, five positions, this is occupied with star and remaining positions one, 2, 3, 4 are occupied by spaces. So because of that reason I am subtracting rows with 1. So first will be occupied for star and remaining will be for spaces. So that is what I am doing here. So next what I will be doing is that I will take a for loop for I in range. I will be generating a range of values from 1 to 5 for these stars. So I will mention 1, 2 rows plus 1. So if I print the value of I can able to get the values of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just need to replace this value with stars so that we can get this pattern. So before doing that, we also need spaces, right? So for that reason, I am mentioning spaces. So on each iteration, we need to decrement the spaces. So that is what in this pattern is happening. In the first, we have 4 spaces. In the second row, we have 3 spaces. In the third row, we have 2 spaces. Like that, spaces are decreasing on each iteration. So for that, what I will be doing is that spaces minus equal to 1. By mentioning this, we can actually decrease the spaces on each iteration. So if I execute this, I can able to see the result as 4, 1. This 4 is for spaces and this 1 is for star. And in the second row, this 3 is for spaces, this 2 is for stars. So let us go ahead and do that actually. So I am mentioning space here and I am multiplying this space with actual spaces variable. This is what string multiplication that we are doing here. So now I will be adding this string concatenation to star, that what we actually wanted the pattern, right? So I am multiplying this star with I value so that I can actually generate this pattern of stars here. So if I execute this, I can able to get the result of what we have expected above in the above triangle. So now what I wanted to do is that I wanted to generate this downward pattern as well so that we can actually combine and get the whole pattern. So for that what I will be doing is that I will be taking another for loop for j in range. I wanted to generate a range of values from 5 till 1. So for that reason I will be mentioning rows comma 0 and minus 1. By mentioning this, we can actually generate a range of values from 5 to 1. So let us see can we generate or not. So I am printing the value j and I am getting the values are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So here we not only having the values of j of stars, we also having the spaces here. If you carefully see here, in the first line we don't have any spaces, but in the second row we have one space and in the third row we have two spaces and In the third row, we have two spaces, and in the fourth row, we have three spaces. Like that, the spaces are increasing on each iteration. So first, I will mention spaces here, and now I will mention j, and on each iteration the spaces are increased. So for that reason I will be mentioning spaces plus equal to 1. So if I print this, I can able to get the result as minus 150413. Like this I am able to get the result. So if I replace these values with stars, I will get some not expected result, but we can modify that later. So now I'm actually replacing this whole thing with this particular spaces. Next, I will be combining the spaces with the stars, multiplying it with the actual value, which is of j. So if I execute this, I can able to get some pattern, but this is not what exactly we have expected. So we have two problems here. We will fix one after the other. So the first problem is we are getting this 5 stars row two number of times, but actually we only want this 5 stars one number of time. So for that reason what I will be doing is that, if you carefully see here, this range is starting with 5 ending with 1. So if I mention rows minus 1, we can actually generate this rows range from 4 till 1. So if I execute this, so we can actually see the result. We haven't have 5 stars repeating two times. We only have 4 stars here. So now the problem is with spaces. So we need to have a space here, and these 4 stars to be moved towards right. And in the next line, we need two spaces and these 3 stars move towards right. So now we will understand why it is happening. If I print spaces here, I am getting minus 1 space. So because of that reason, in this line, I am having minus 1 because I don't have any space here. In this line, by incrementing 1 here, we will be having the spaces as 0. Because of that reason, I don't have any spaces. So later, it was incrementing with 1, I have single space. So to get the desired pattern, we need to increment the spaces with 2 number of times, so that that will be reaches to 1 and we can actually get a space. So for that, after first for loop, I am mentioning spaces plus equal to 2. So I will comment this spaces printing. So now if I execute this, I can able to get the pattern that what we have expected as a whole. So I hope you can able to understand this logic to generate this pattern. If not, let me explain one more time for you. So initially we are taking the rows value to get how many number of rows that we wanted. Later, we have identified we not only have spaces, not only have stars, we also having spaces. For that reason, I am taking one more variable spaces to keep track of the spaces. Later, I am creating a range of values from 1 to how many number of rows that we are having. So I am creating a spaces and stars combination to get this particular above triangle. So later, I am creating one more for loop to create downward triangle. So in this, what I will be doing is that I will creating a range of values from how many number of rows that we are having minus 1, because if you mention 5 itself here, we cannot actually generate the desired result. So for that reason, I am decrementing the rows with 1 and generating the remaining range. So here also we are doing the similar pattern what we have done previously for the above triangle. So on each iteration, I am increasing the spaces by 1. So by doing that, we have found some difficulty in the pattern. So we have mentioned this statement. By mentioning this statement, we can actually get the desired result. So now I hope you can able to understand this particular uh, solution for printing this particular pattern. So now what we will be doing is that we will dynamically take input from the user. So for that reason, I am mentioning these rows with int input. By using this input, we can actually take input from the user. So I want integer value, because of the reason I have mentioned int here. So enter any number. So I'm asking user to enter any number. So if I execute this, it was asking me to enter any number. If I enter 5 here, I can actually get the result of what we have got. So this is what the actual result. So now I will give some other number. Let's say I am giving 8 here. So after giving 8, I can able to get the similar pattern what we have expected. So now I will give one more number. Let's say I am giving 3. So like this. By giving these three also, we can able to get the similar pattern. So by this logic, we can take any input from the user and generate this kind of pattern for any input. So I hope you can able to understand. So in the next video, we will discuss how we can print this particular pattern. So if you can write the solution for this problem, that is more appreciated, and comment your solution in the comment section. So anyway, we will discuss this particular solution for this pattern in our next video. To stay updated, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. And if you found this video interesting and if you understand this what I have explained in this video, hit the like button, and thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.